We are tracking some new developments this week in the Idaho quadruple murder case. A judge ruling that the venue will in fact be changed in the trial for Bryan Kohberger. The reason concerns the community in Moscow, Idaho, is prejudiced against Kohberger, the defendant. His lawyers requesting that move, saying that he wouldn't get a fair trial if it stayed there. The prosecutors did not agree. And as for the families of the 4 students killed, they also did not want this venue changed.
It's hard. It gets harder for me.
Is it hard, like not to look at him, or do you try to just listen to what they're saying? Or?
I look at him. I especially when he walks in, well, I'll look right at him. I'm just dying for him to look over, make eye contact.
Do you think they could find a fair jury here?
We know they can, and we've actually asked and done interviews ourselves, and they have to find 12 people plus some people on the side, some substitutes. But yeah, they can find 12 people that have made their mind up.
Yeah, that haven't made that's not that hard.
Well, despite their concerns, the venue will now be changed. New location yet to be determined. That decision is being left up to Idaho's highest court. Kohberger is facing 4 counts of murder in the brutal stabbing deaths of Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in their home just off of campus in November of 2022. The wheels of justice in this case turning very slowly. I want to give you a quick look back at what has happened so far. Kohberger arrested December 30th of 2022, enters a not guilty plea in May of last year. If convicted, he could face the death penalty in this case. Well, a few months passed. He waived his right to a speedy trial, and days before the new year, the house where the murders took place was destroyed. Fast forward to today, and as of right now, this trial is still expected to go on as scheduled in June of next year, though with this latest development, the location of the trial yet to be determined. We'll see how that factors into the case. Here now, trial attorney Chandelle Summer. There have been so many twists and turns in this case. Is it normal for a case, such a high-profile quadruple murder, to take this long to get to a trial?
I think that any type of case like this, which has been very much in the media, and everyone probably in the United States is aware of this case that pays attention, it is not atypical for it to take this long. This is the typical course of most cases, because you want to make sure that the defendant gets a fair trial. You want to make sure that the case is not reversed on appeal. So you're going to do all of the motions and all of the things you need to do ahead of time in a very slow and methodical way to make sure you get it right. I think that the change of venue was not at all unexpected, for me at least. I wouldn't imagine that in a small community like this, where most of the people associated with the town probably work at Washington State University and have some connection to the university and have very strong feelings about this case, I think it would be very difficult to find an impartial jury. So the fact that there's been pretrial publicity in this community, and the fact that social media is out there and everyone talks about it on social media, makes it very difficult for someone to obtain a fair trial. Moving it to a larger venue like Boise is probably the appropriate thing to do under the circumstances.
So what factors is the judge now considering in determining, or I guess it's Idaho's high court, in determining what the appropriate location would be?
Well, typically in these types of change of venue motions, you try to find a community that has the same demographic makeup as the community that the case is coming from. However, in this particular situation, what they're looking for is a wider jury pool. They need more people to select from, because this case has garnered so much national attention. Almost everyone has heard of it. So Boise will be likely the spot that they choose, because it's the largest city in that state. The convenience to the families of the victims is probably not much different in Lotta County versus Boise, because none of them necessarily are from that community. They just had children who went to that school. The other issue is the courthouse size. When you have a case like this, you have so many people working on it that you need a courthouse that has the appropriate facilities for this type of case.
We know the prosecution will focus on this knife sheath that was found in that home and the horrors that took place in that house. It has always struck me as interesting and curious that they demolished the house. I know there was a lot of controversy around that, but for those of us who follow true crime cases, juries often like to go back to the crime scene and get a glimpse of what happened and where it happened. And as they consider the task at hand, they will not be able to do that in this case. Is that a win for the defense?
Not really. I would imagine the owners of the house, whoever the landlords are, probably wanted to go ahead and destroy the house because of the fact that people probably drive by to see the house, the fact that they want to try to remove the scourge that's associated with the house. There will be so many videos, so many pictures. There will not be a question in anyone's mind about what this house looked like, what it looked like on that night, what it looked like when the police did their investigation. So that's not an issue. Juries going to the scene of a crime is fairly rare. There has to be some overwhelming reason why the court would pack up the jurors and take them over to a crime scene. So I don't think that's an issue.
Chandelle Summer, appreciate your perspective on this case. Again, next June is when we expect this trial to get underway in the Koberger case. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.